Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. Content warnings can be found in the show notes. We've talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect. We're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now, let's walk the path of night.
Last time on Path of Night. Britta bumped into A-Dog, C-Dog, and the leader of the Sabbat pack, Rufio. Johnny scared them off, and Britta raised Johnny's social profile with a calculated dance. Neil and Jane smoked together, while Miles received a pin from Amaya. In public, the venture evaded a game of pin the tail on the prince, but in private, Miles admitted his sins to Amaya. The two agreed on mutual political support. Britta discovered Eden sneaked into the rave, and she and Johnny discussed how to handle the Dumfier's presence. They decided to gather the Coterie and finalize their plans for the rave. Neil, you're on the roof, enjoying the stars with your comrades.
Colleagues.
Right now, we're just all cosmonauts on a journey.
Jane, who is also, at this point, very high and very drunk, pushes you onto your back. It is a little jarring, the ease with which she does it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you're being shoved down onto your back by like a forklift. Like there's no give when she does it. And she straddles over you, smoking, and she inhales deeply from what she's smoking. And she takes you by your horrible scraggly hair and pulls you into what starts like a kiss, but she exhales a lot of smoke into your lungs. And it's right around then that you see the rooftop access door open and Johnny comes out. Right out the corner of your eyes as you reopen your eyes.
Neil is frozen in that way that a completely socially anxious individual is frozen when things are happening that he doesn't even know if he wants or not. He's just completely unaware of his surroundings, and so just plays possum as he inhales the smoke and then turns his head over to the corner of his, when he sees Johnny out of the corner of his eyes, as any sort of sensory input to ground himself, and just, breathes out a bunch of smoke that was just pushed into his mouth. And he goes, "Hey, Johnny.
Are you kids playing spin the bottle?"
Not getting bailed out by a change of topic by Johnny. He just looks back at Jane and then looks over at Johnny.
She just looks at you waiting for you to answer Johnny's question.
I was looking at the stars.
That's what you're calling now.
Jane is still way stronger than him, so I assume he's being held by the shirt at this point, kind of half off the ground.
She lets you go, but is just kind of straddling on your hips, and there's just no escape.
Just classic stargazing stuff.
She looks over at Johnny. "I'm stars."
I can see that. Be careful now, Jane. Rumor has it this one's got an Assamite girlfriend. I don't think they take too kindly to this kind of stuff.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time, but yes, I do. Johnny bringing Nara up, gives Neil permission in his own brain to be we've been through a lot together. She's in the city now, I think. I haven't seen her yet. I've been...
With me? She laughs and gets up.
Neil doesn't say anything. He doesn't, know what to say. He's very confused in a lot of ways.
Are you all with it right now?
Oh, yeah, I'm barely touching me.
Follow the finger. He kind of like has his finger go back and forth a little bit.
Neil follows it.
Johnny
It takes some.
puts his hand down in front of Neil in a motion of help you up.
He goes to take the hand.
Johnny hoists him up with ease.
Just sort of gangles his way up to his feet.
I want to do a little coterie meeting before we get this, the main event underway.
Probably a good idea. I don't really... We should probably check in.
Do you smoke all these Brujah up?
Yeah.
Johnny kind of looks impressed.
Jane said, your clan has a sort of a history with Khalif, and, I had a little bit.
Do we?
Jane said so.
She looks at her wrist as though there's a watch there. She's like, yeah, like 3 hours of it.
It's an impressive history right there.
Oh, I thought this one doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it's irrelevant. We had a nice time.
The Brujah all laugh uproariously. Like you're a really funny dude.
I don't know. We had a nice time. It was a nice... Yeah. I don't know if we have any left. I don't know if you want any, but...
I'm good. I think I should probably stay a little bit more on edge.
Yeah, I get that.
Come on, Britta's grabbing the other two. Let's meet up real quick. I think things are going pretty well, and I don't want to let this just continue on until a fight breaks out. I'd rather get this in before that happens.
It's probably a good idea. He looks over at Jane. Hey, thanks for, all of this. And he actually waves at sort of like the whole pile on the rooftop, like the whole... He's very clearly not talking about the last 30 seconds, although it's probably part of it. He's talking about the whole, like, he is aware of what she did, having everybody come up here and do this for him.
They kind of gave you a wave, and they're like, you're all done, man?
For now.
Britta, you arrive outside, and you see Wynn, Miles, and their dates. All of them participating in a circle of about 15 people. In this circle, everyone is smoking. Some of them have drinks. And it looks like there's just kind of a, nice chat going on. As you approach, you kind of hear that some of these Brujah are talking about how Bill Clinton played the saxophone and smoked weed, and that's what made him a better president. And they're obviously, not super serious, but, have extremely serious tones while they explain it. And as they go back and forth, talking about whether or not he absolutely sucked or was definitely the man, you see the people you're looking for.
Britta comfortably slinks in to the conversation and makes eye contact with her coterie mates. I was hoping I could steal you two for a bit.
Yeah, this game of Fuck, Marry, Kill has gotten completely off the rails and gone political, so yeah, I'm out.
It always does, one of them says to you. It always
then
does.
You're doing it wrong!
Britta giggles and extends a hand to Wynn.
Wynn will reach out and take it. She'll kind of give Weathers an affectionate nudge with her hip as they leave the circle.
He smiles at you, and just as he does, you hear the clunking noise of boots on the hood of a car. And when you turn, you see a very European-looking Kabir who's wearing very tight pants, a leather jacket, and a very long scarf.
Wow.
His hair is a mess. His earrings have all of these, dangly bits on chains. And he saw the hip bump. Because for the first time in a long time, he's not staring at you. He's staring at your date.
Wynn just kind of quietly under her breath, the expression on her face oddly remains the same. Just, oh, for fuck's sake.
Britta kind of having Wynn in one hand and looking to the situation.
Can I have a minute? Can we wait 1 minute?
Oh, for sure. And Britta kind of trades back places with Wynn and goes over to Weathers to kind of nudge him with her shoulder like it's a thing the Coterie does.
What are you doing?
She sends him a bright smile to convince him to go along with it.
He looks over at Kabir. The fuck you staring at?
I need you guys to know that Erika loves this.
Obviously. I can see your grin.
Kabir glares.
I don't know if you guys realize how dangerous this
He's
is.
staring at a fucking pussy.
Kabir. She climbs up on the car with him. What are you doing here, man? I'm
I
glad.
don't know. I shouldn't be here, obviously. I wasn't invited.
Get a Brujah date and you can come.
Is that what you did?
Yes. I had to come in with my coterie.
Fuck you, Weathers. He points at him.
Nope, we're not doing that, babe.
Britta,
She pushes his arm so that he is turning away.
Britta tries to keep a temperature on Weathers too as soon as he's called out with a fuck you, and tries to try to keep it calming, and this it's a very similar motion to what she did to Johnny earlier, but just a little less personal, not getting so much in his face.
You very easily manhandle Kabir, and he doesn't even resist.
No, he wouldn't.
However, Britta, behind her, as she's being dragged away, there's another Kabir. And this Kabir calmly cracks his knuckles and gracefully hops down from the car and begins striding towards Weathers.
Britta puts herself...
You know that you have Kabir, but he is probably going to attempt to hoard reality Weathers.
All right, stop. Babe, I just got you back. Please stop.
Maybe it's not really there.
Babe,
What harm can I possibly do to this man?
a lot. Remember, I told you about when your magic did something to me and it incapacitated me until someone could call me back? Yeah,
He nods.
that was harmful. Don't do that to people.
Britta kind of steps
Lip
forward
stiffens.
to the illusion. Do I think that there's two Kabirs, right?
Yeah, you see very clearly that there are two of them.
She steps forward to the illusion, looking between the two, not really certain which one she's dealing with, but kind of trying to peacemake and say, hey, please, if we can all just be chill about this.
The Kabir that is standing in front of you very deftly readies a butterfly knife. Weathers says simply, I'm gonna make you eat that.
Honey, can you please drop the illusion? I'm here doing sensitive coterie sheriff shit tonight, and this would really fuck shit up for me.
He looks stressed, as though you cannot possibly fathom how difficult restraint is for him.
She puts a hand on his, the space between his shoulder and his chest. Please. We can talk about us.
He's a stupid fuck and you know it.
I don't think he is, but it doesn't...
What?
Honey, my love is not pie. There is enough for everybody. Me having affection for other people...
You have affection for him?
Not
I
romantic.
cut his dick off.
No, you're not going to cut his dick off.
I'm like, you eat it. And he points at Weathers.
Kabir, I know you're not familiar with the 7 Greek types of love, but what
I
I
am
feel
not.
what I feel for you is not the same as what I feel for him.
Fine.
All right? Here's what we're going to do.
I'd kill him anyway.
I know you would. She clearly does not believe him, but she's going along with it verbally. So here's what's going to happen. Provided everyone survives tonight, which I don't even fucking know anymore, we'll talk. We'll talk about what you want to be in my life.
Though there wasn't one there before. He pulls a hood up over his head and turns and skulks away.
Don't leave me like that.
He turns to you
We're not leaving.
flips you the bird. You have Coterie business. And he slinks off really sad looking and mopes around into an alley.
What does the illusion do?
It is backing away as
not
though it is a
illusion.
member of the cast of the dance crew and the music video for Beat It. And then it too slinks away.
Britta kind of turns back to Weathers and says, sorry about all that.
He shrugs. It's a rave.
Britta looks a little confused, but gives a nod and kind of in her confusion, but it's genuine, cracks a smile.
I'm just going to stand over here and not draw attention to myself as the venture.
Desperately minding your own business.
Yeah, just
Look,
Eating chips.
you can't get stressed out every time there's almost a fight. If you do, you're going to be too tired when something really does need your attention.
That's probably true, but I don't...
When, as Kabir walks away, flips the bird but turns it sideways and says, "That's for the horse you rode in on," and walks back. He's being a petty little bitch, and she's not going to give it a whole lot of time. So Wynn jumps off the car and walks back, approaches Weathers. "I am so sorry for that."
Another shrug. I get it all the time.
Bet you do. I think that's what he's worried about.
It's actually a much more genuine giggle.
He nods.
All right. Touch base with you later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At this point, Britta looks over to find Miles again, who is desperately minding his business.
Pretty much.
And kind of motions. Hey.
This is not my show. This is not my pony.
Not your circus, not your monkeys.
Yeah, that's the term. That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Look.
However, we're trying to convene a circus, and we're all pretty much monkeys in the shit show.
I'm just trying to make sure that Kabir doesn't get itself killed, but okay, let's go.
Very good.
Honestly, if he didn't die when he was in New York in a semi-comatose and semi-erratic state, he'll probably be okay.
It doesn't help me either way. They're both capable.
I know.
Miles, not finding it an easier way to extricate himself, does a small bow and says, "Duty calls."
Peace out, Cub Scouts.
And
Catch on the flip side.
proceeds to follow them. I am not drawing any more attention than I
Weathers kind of gives you a look. We don't do that here.
Which part?
Just go.
Very good.
Don't bow to people at a rave. Come on, man.
I don't know how to get out of a conversation otherwise.
Little hand flourish.
It was very awkward, and I just left. We're good.
You could just walk away without bowing.
It just felt appropriate at the time.
The feeling was wrong.
You say so, but I feel okay.
If you feel okay, I love that for you. Let's go.
Excellent.
After 5 minutes of Miles subtly leaving the conversation, the group makes it back to the VIP room to reconvene.
Oh, and guys, if you can just... Eden got here, so we're gonna keep an eye on her, alright?
Wynn makes a very surprised and angry face.
I know, but one of the ghouls is watching her, so...
Yeah, I feel like that's not enough.
Yeah, which car did they take?
Miles with the important questions over fucking here.
It is. Which car did they take? It's very important.
What, are you worried about airbags or something?
Well, if they're deployed, yes.
Johnny,
Yes.
your phone rings.
Johnny fumbles it a little bit, kind of like a little bit upset with having to deal with a phone. Gets it out. Hello?
Johnny, it's me, Kabir.
Kabir, what's going on?
I need your help.
Yeah, anything, man. What you need?
Jesus, tap dancing Christ.
I'm losing her.
Losing who?
Wynn.
What? Since when?
I don't know. It must have been going on for some time.
I don't think so. When she's not the most subtle person. I think I would have known if she's been like...
I'm going to fuck Weathers up, and I want you to help me.
Oh, wait, hold on for a second. First, how did you get my number?
What do you mean?
Well, I just got this cell phone.
Yeah.
Kabir.
I gave it to him.
Oh, all right. Well, that answers that. Second, Weathers. Why Weathers?
Because he's a fuck.
Okay.
Johnny.
I mean, sometimes, but no. Weathers is solid. Didn't he pull you out of New York?
Yeah. So what?
All right. And wait, and you think that he and Wynn?
Yes. Go ahead, ask her right now.
Ask her what?
Wynn looks to him like, oh, please
And then
do.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of Weathers.
Buddy, I think if you and I try to jump Weathers, he's gonna beat the shit out of you with me.
No, Johnny, I know how strong you are.
All right, bud.
Together we are unbeatable.
Wynn kind of, with one hand covering her face, just kind of motions for Johnny to hand her the phone.
My plan and your strength.
All right. Can this wait till after the rave, though? Because no offense, but
Before the after party.
Before the after party? Yeah, all right. We can handle this before the after party. But
Okay.
But right now, this is a little bit of just background drama, if you get me.
What?
Anyhow.
Dots on the sheet.
Call me back. Call me back.
Oh, poor Kabir.
Hell?
Call me back, Johnny.
Of course, Kabir. I would never forget about you.
Okay.
Hey.
He hangs up.
Johnny looks at Wynn with the most accusatory stare possible. What did you do to Kabir?
Nothing! I didn't ask him to be my date to the Brujah rave.
Okay. That's fine.
He seems to think I'm fucking Weathers.
Well, that kind of...
I would, but I'm not.
Whoa.
Wynn.
You can't say shit like that.
That's
Why?
because he's obviously gonna take that.
He's European, Wynn.
What?
Does that, give him a pass to be jealous?
No, but he's gonna be crazy about things. What, did you do a hip bump or something?
Yeah?
Oh my god.
No, it's
Oh,
more
like you fucking know, Neil.
when he might have misunderstood what you said. He might think that you date multiple people or fuck multiple people or...
I would, but not without everyone knowing.
Oh my god, Wynn, you
I
gotta...
don't know.
You can't talk to him.
I
Not
don't
in
know
front
if
of
you've
people
had,
like that.
conversation yet, or...
Y'all need to, get off the puritanical shit and understand that people fuck.
Yeah, I understand.
And it has nothing to do with my affection for people.
And this isn't puritanical thing. This is just a matter of old world. If you find out that somebody's fucking in front of everybody else, you're gonna start stabbing people
I'm
in front of everyone
not,
else.
Yeah, but you said you would, which for a guy like Kabir, look, think of it. Kabir has been maybe, I don't know him as well as you guys do, but there's a
surprisingly
certain type
big
of,
dick. Now you know him a little better.
We don't have to talk. Forget it.
I'm not really
Yeah.
surprised actually.
When have you guys ever established, whether or not you're committed or open?
No, but I sat with him for a goddamn week trying to protect him from the nightmare magic that was killing him.
Kabir's a committed kind of guy.
Then he needs to be
That's-
committed. Then he needs to talk to me about it.
I think he's committed enough to pick a fight with Weathers
It
about
sounds
it.
like he wants to throw down with Weathers.
It
That's pretty
sounds
fucking
like
committed.
he's just being jealous that I'm spending time with people, not him, because he flipped me off when I said I had coterie business.
You put it like that?
Yeah.
I mean, he is being jealous, but that's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
People are allowed to be
People
jealous.
can be jealous.
Yeah, but they can't pick fights about it and have the people they're jealous over be okay with it.
I don't know. Sometimes it's nice.
No? This is just complicated.
I-
And we have shit to do.
Okay, but did you?
How did you tell him not to pick a fight, though?
Yeah.
I asked him not to do it because it would make me upset if there was a fight and it would complicate things for me.
When I
said that I cared about him, and if we want to talk about us, we can do that. But right now I have work to do.
Did you say talk about? We can talk about
Hang
us.
on,
Yes.
That's breakup words.
No, it's not breakup words. It's I need to have a
In
discussion
my
about
experience, that's
Hey.
breakup words.
Yeah.
I don't think Wynn did anything wrong. She just didn't really... Look, it wasn't a great communication. The things that you said, they still matter. They're still true.
Is this more that subtext bullshit?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't respond to that.
I know, but it can help with communication.
It seems to have done nothing but complicate the communication here.
No matter whether you choose to or not, there is always subtext present. I know that you don't want to fuck with it, but it's always there.
I mean, Kabir's a Ravnos. Isn't his whole thing subtext? And
His whole thing is illusions. What things look like. I didn't say anything to implicate that I didn't want to be with him.
subtext is the illusions of language.
Do you have that on a fucking pillow somewhere? What the fuck is that?
Again, I don't think you did anything wrong. I think that there's miscommunication. And I think if you want him to understand, you're going to have to offer a method for him to understand.
So I just have to suck his dick? What?
No.
I'm decidedly staying out of this conversation also.
You look smug as hell right now, Miles.
I'm just looking out over this. I have adopted an attitude of everything goes. I am here as Prince Miles. There we go.
Yeah, and they yelled fuck the prince and you didn't yell that they couldn't handle it, so clearly they don't think highly of you.
What?
See, right there. You actually nailed it right in the head. You gotta say shit in front of people so that they see things about how they are.
I was standing on a car in front of a crowd of Brujah playing Fuck, Marry, Kill.
What kind of car?
I don't know, some kind of Buick?
It's important.
For who? Is that more that subtext bullshit?
No, he's just checking which car the ghoul
If I'm
brought.
standing on a Toyota, does that somehow make the commitment more valid?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's some lame money people bullshit.
No, it's because Toyotas have a good warranty.
I'm just
and
saying,
they last a
if
long
Kabir
time.
What,
showed
they have
up, if Kabir showed up and made some kind of grand, over-the-top admittedly, absurd gesture about the fact that he's going to start a fight with Weathers over you. You can't just shoot him down in front of public. You have to,
I didn't. I didn't say no. I said not now.
He sounded awfully blubbery on the phone.
How many women has he had committed to him?
You might be the first.
Yeah, that's why. And he needs to figure out that I can still talk to other people and still want to be with him above the others.
No. I'm not saying that he's a virgin or anything like that. I'm just saying this is the first time that he's actually gone in on things. So
it sounds like this was an attempt to him to show a big grand, what would to him maybe be a big grand romantic gesture.
He came off a plane and made a beeline and started kissing me in front of people. How could I not read that as he wants to be with me?
When it's okay, yeah, he didn't do a great job of expressing himself. I also think that you probably want him to understand where you're at, right?
I thought I made myself clear on that. Wynn, grabs a shot from a tray that's going by and just pounds it. Yeah, she peeks out of the curtain and...
Sometimes they just, part of it is proving themselves to fight each other. Can you eat
food?
No.
Okay.
Later.
Spending of the blood?
Spending of blood to keep it down.
Done.
Wynn, no,
it's fine. Your blood can help you keep it.
Yeah, I kind of forgot.
All right. Everyone, we need to stop talking about this bullshit. Because we have a lot more going on tonight.
Agreed.
Britta, do you agree?
Britta is kind of giving Miles a sideways look for him jumping in at the end of things to just be like, yeah, the other stuff. That's what Britta's doing. She's just mildly sassing Miles.
It slides off me.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Johnny, are people... What happens next?
Damn it. Wynn takes out her phone and starts texting.
I think any of you guys have been to a little Brujah gathering on a rooftop before, but things can get kind of heated. People have been known to eject themselves via another angry Brujah, if you get my drift.
It seems like people are really ready to fight.
Yeah. But what we want to try to accomplish here is trying to get some sense of unity amongst the Brujah in the area, because we got a whole bunch of shit coming down.
For the defense of New Haven? Is that what we're rallying them for?
That's what I was thinking. Is there anything that I need to be aware of that we really need to try and push up on that roof?
We know that there's probably a bunch of different objectives. The Sabbat are here to try to grab people. I imagine the Anarchs are going to want to grab people too, and I don't know that anyone aligned with Longbow is... they might now be good with defending New Haven, but I'm not sure.
So my thoughts are, if Amaya is willing to take up residence in the Middletown area like you were offering her, I'm totally fine with people siding with the Anarchs, because that effectively is people in our camp looking to stop the Sabbat. We gotta stop people listening to the bullshit and the lies the Sabbat try to push. As far as Longbow goes, I think if they get anybody, it's gonna be heading towards New York as long as the plans go ahead.
There's a real energy here, and I think whoever wants to come out on top needs to be in the forefront and leading that energy, regardless of where it's going.
Johnny, have you considered how you're going to undercut the lies the Sabbat are telling when some of the lies they're going to be using aren't lies?
What do you think? What things aren't lies?
The eldest and all that stuff. The Sabbat's whole deal, right, is fuck the elders, fuck the antediluvians, and that's if they step up there and go, hey Johnny, you were just talking about how there are definitely antediluvians rising and we all need to rally around the Sabbat to go kill them. What's your counterplay?
I'm gonna deflect that.
Okay.
I think it's the best play we got. I think getting into a conversation about whether or not that thing in Hell House is or is not an antediluvian or whatever else there is, that's just going to bring the whole conversation screeching to a halt.
I know. I just be anticipatory of that.
I'm ready just to deflect that and point out the fact that the Sabbat are looking to deflect the fact that them coming through here is no good for the life of anybody.
How do we support you, Johnny?
I'm not sure.
I have two things I want to bring up. One, I think we need to be ready for people to use the fact that what Miles did with Roland's and have an answer for that. And also, who are some faces that we haven't seen tonight that should have shown up? And do we wait for them to show up?
That's a great question, Lex. Who are some of the people that we've should have been expecting but have not seen?
The only Brujah who, of like fame, there's a handful that have been through the area in the past that are not here. One is Archon Bell. He is likely still engaged in operations in New York. Another Brujah that is known is a man by the name of Pug Jackson. Pug has not been through this area in years. Doesn't actually seem super weird that he's not here right now. Jacques is the child of Roman Pendragon, and he is not here. And usually he's a little bit of a rabble-rouser who loves showing up to places like this to instigate. But he's not here. And then, of course, there is Roman Pendragon, who has not made an appearance.
And tangential to that, who are some people we've seen that we didn't plan on and may have to accommodate on the fly?
The Black Hand.
Well,
Kind of anticipating
we
that,
kind of
actually.
anticipated they might show up.
Probably not as they did.
That's fair.
Dark Selena.
Yeah. And Sullivan's here, actually. But he's not really like so much a problem, but he is a member of Boston's court. And you guys actually did have some interactions with him in the past.
Right.
But he's largely actually been present,
nice.
pretty supportive, and just kind of using the opportunity.
We got along. We got along up in Boston, so
Yeah.
Arabella left and he wasn't on fire, so he was pretty happy.
Yeah, no, that worked all good for him. All good.
Additionally, I saw Weathers passing out some incendiary rounds to other Brujah, so that could be a factor we're dealing with. He is also, when I asked for some, said that my job is to look pretty. So
yeah.
for those of us non-Brujah, sounds like we can defend but not attack. Johnny, is more or less that the case?
Just don't be the first to swing. Let's
Gotcha.
put it that way. If Weathers is passing out incendiary rounds, I trust the old man's decision.
No, I do too, but we should be prepared for the fact that things could be on fire.
If somebody comes at the prince for accusations of whatever, I'm not gonna say yes or no, but I am gonna point out the fact that all the Brujah here have benefited from the prince so far. They've received money to stabilize their own havens and all their own goings on, and that for the first time in years I cannot count, this city has seen a Brujah in position of seneschal, and that means that this city is doing well for the clan.
I've also had a discussion with Amaya already, so...
Well, Weathers also asked questions, and I said I wasn't going to air your dirty laundry, and he took that to mean exactly what you'd think it would mean. So, I don't know that non-answering is going to help us any more than being direct about it.
I don't necessarily know if this is going to be about me.
It's going to be a factor.
Someone's gonna say something.
People have said something.
I think I have an idea of the way I want to play this. Is there anything else you guys can think of that I should keep in mind?
Do we have Eden stay down here?
I think we have her on the roof where we can see her. Maybe just keep your ghoul up there with her.
Or put her behind me.
That's also a good spot.
I feel like the vibe I've been sort of getting from everything is, show strength and stuff is good. Do you, instead of behind Wynn, so that Wynn can be up closer to you, Johnny, do you want me to keep an eye on her?
Actually, Wynn, I think that might be even a better idea. And if things go sideways, you just disappear, my boy.
That's kind of what I was...
That also works.
Well, keep an eye on Eden to one degree or another.
Yeah, I mean, more eyes is better eyes.
Right.
All right. Let's not keep everybody up top waiting too long. I think I hear things getting moving. Johnny kind of looks up and hears the vibrations from the roof. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
And you head upstairs. You make it to the roof. And there is already a rowdy crowd, but it kind of quiets down a bit as the coterie that is now at this point made a name for itself gets a bit of the respect that it has been long time due.
Johnny pauses at the little bit of quiet and kind of like takes the Morley that he's been smoking out of his lip, looks around and says, "Come on now, aren't y'all having a good time?"
Yeah, and the crowd erupts.
He kind of lifts his arms up and kind of like eggs him on a little bit. takes a long drag on the Morley.
Now, there's a few things to note here. One, everyone has a red light cast over them because the brightest star in the sky that shines even through the typical city pollution that New Haven is known for is a baleful red star. And tonight, it seems particularly bright. Coming to greet the Coterie are two women who have both changed their outfits before this stage of the rave and are now clad mostly in white. The first to kind of put an elbow over Johnny's shoulder and greet him with a big, sideways hug is Jane. And Jane is now wearing, this very spiky white leather jacket that has a patch. This is just Wise on it. She's wearing a t-shirt that is tied up to be more like a midriff shirt. And on it is the face of the rapper Nas, but done up as a golden pharaoh in tribute to the album I Am. She is wearing these incredibly baggy cargo pants that are all white, save for this bright, sparkly golden thong that rides up the sides of her hips. And with very dramatic, deep, dark makeup on, she gives Johnny a kiss on the cheek. And Amaya, who is wearing a kind of baggy, almost too big for her, but within the style of the time, pleather trench coat. On her, she's wearing a t-shirt that just says Kickstart My Heart. And she also gives Johnny a big half hug and kisses him on the cheek. And as though this was the conclusion of some ceremony, Johnny is given the floor. Now, in addition to this, on one side of this meeting is what definitely seems to be a group of individuals that are recognized as a Black Hand Kumut, and they are given their space. And while most Brujah won't outwardly demonstrate that their presence makes them nervous, you can kind of feel a bit of that in the air. These guys are dangerous and are known to siege multiple cities over the course of the past year or so. On the other side of them are individuals that, unlike many of the other Brujah, aren't wearing leather jackets or tack gear or anything like that, but are wearing uniforms. And these, ladies and gentlemen, belong to Roman Pendragon and are a dozen members of his army. All of them have claws that are ready to go in case things escalate with the Sabbat. Amidst this tension, kind of watching the space between and quietly positioning himself to be a clear authority figure in terms of security, is Weathers, who looks very handsome, bright chain hanging around his neck, and a shotgun that he is just gripping in his hand. It is not holstered, it is not subtled. He is a man with a shotgun and is ready to use it. Now, next to Johnny, Amaya and Jane are carrying weapons of a different sort. And what you see are paintball guns. Each of them has one, and examining them, you can see that they're very much so loaded with bright, hot pink paintballs.
Okay.
And quietly, once the uproar dies down, everyone looks to Johnny.
Johnny kind of takes a few moments to walk around and look at everybody present on the rooftop. It warms my dead heart to see all these badass motherfuckers on the roof tonight. He looks around at all the present Brujah. He points at Pendragon's army. He points at the Kamut. He points at all of the other Brujah. I think we can all agree it's been a long time since we've seen our bloodline in force anywhere. But looking around this roof tonight, I think we can all agree that there is no bloodline like the Brujah. Let's give it up!
There's, of course, the positive response that Johnny's looking for. But then the question kind of starts to manifest, which becomes, why are we here?
I called this rave because I wanted to talk about the well-being of our home. I think we all can agree that this little neck of the woods we call New Haven is in one way or another our home. Some of us here might just be neighbors, but this place is ours. Before we get to the heavier business, I think we can all thank the former Primogen Weathers for all he has done for everyone present on this rooftop.
Most seem to agree. There's like an applause and some voices offering support.
Wynn gives a yell.
But there's also a handful of those Brujah that were tight with Shaw and loyalists to the old Nosferatu cause. But when one of them is like, in response to what Johnny says, Jane, with a quick snap, fires the paintball gun, hits him square in the nuts, and splashes his outfit with bright pink.
There's like a little accidental giggle from Britta at the perfect aim and the revelation of the purpose.
The Brujah threatens her, calls her a bitch, and everything he says just can't be heard over the laughter, and his rage gives way to humiliation. And those who would have spoken out against Weathers are too afraid of the embarrassment they just watched to continue speaking up.
Fucking outstanding.
I got to imagine that, like, the reflexive laugh, not from just from everybody, like, specifically from fucking Britta, who has spent the entire fucking party being like, look how cool, life of the party, is, like, it's a fucking horrible nail in a coffin.
Johnny kind of puts out a consolatory hand and goes, no, I get it. None of us always make decisions that everyone likes. In fact, Weathers over here thought it'd be a smart fucking move to put a bullseye on my goddamn back and named me Primogen. I don't fucking like that move, but here we are. Anybody got problems with that and want the bullseye on their back? Speak up now. Johnny looks around the rooftop.
For the first time since Johnny made it to the roof, he is met with silence.
I thank you all for your vote of confidence. As Primogen of New Haven, I would also like to extend thanks to the Baron. He turns to Amaya.
Amaya gives a feigned curtsy, and a bunch of the guys clap for her. And you can kind of tell, like, there are the Brujah that people love because they're total badasses, but there's also the Brujah that are popular in this crowd because a lot of the guys are kind of sweet on them. And Amaya is very clearly one of them. And, she gets her attention, and after the curtsy, she gives you a nod and says, thank you, Johnny. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Hopefully no one gets thrown off the roof.
Johnny casts a glance over at the Brujah that made an unfortunate exit last time there was a rant. I don't think anyone's going off the roof tonight.
He puts his hands up as though indicating he's not carrying a weapon and doesn't want any trouble.
Johnny flashes him a smile and kind of nods back. I'd also like to extend my thanks to all of our neighbors up in Hartford and Boston for coming down. He kind of gives motion over to Sully, the members of Pendragon's army who've arrived.
The members of Pendragon's army are kind of met with this, I don't want to say lazy, but half-hearted applause. So, like, they're kind of not well liked by the crowd, them being all squared away and instruments of war.
And I don't think anybody here could miss our guests from New York. Kind of Johnny gives a kind of smug, shit-eating grin with like a half-cocked head over to the Cabot that's here.
There is an excitable boo that is extended to them.
Hey, everybody chill. I know the rumors float around that I might be a Sabbat myself. He kind of gives like this kind of like clown walk a little bit. But that's the guy right there that started those rumors. My sire, ladies and gentlemen.
Boo, more boos. And it is around then that everyone gets this wave of anxiety. And you can feel a certain nervous sensation, the way the doe feels when confronted by the wolf. And one of these Black Hand, not your sire, begins to take off the tactical gear. And he becomes she. And over the course of moments, the group now sees a smaller, almost diminutive woman who is rather beautiful, but you can feel this dangerous sensation radiating from her. And someone in the crowd, you're not sure who, whispers, "Dark Selena."
Johnny puts his arms out and becomes very serious for a moment. All joking between sects that should be enemies. I thank you for coming here and respecting the rave and respecting the bloodline. And he nods towards Dark Selena.
The corner of her lip twists into a smile or smirk.
So our clan has a choice, and I think we're all well aware of. These coming nights, we all got to decide where we're going to stand and where we're going to be. And I'm going to encourage all of you to make the choice to stand here in New Haven with me, with the Baron, to stand against the lies that things are going to be all right once the Sabbat wipes this place clean. Because that's not going to happen. What they're promising, this is all just a power grab for their newly anointed Cardinal of the Northeast Polonia. They say they're against the elders. They're not. They're just grabbing power for the Canaanites at the top of their ladder. They do not care about the vampires, the kindred that live here in this land. And their main weapon is fear. If Clan Brujah decides to fear the Sabbat, they'll roll through just like they're saying. But if you want to stand up, stay here, and put a stake on your home, they ain't gonna do nothing. So I'm asking you all to answer a call to arms. I want you all to stand with me and reject this bullshit coming up from New York.
Just as you'd hope, the vast majority of the Brujah present yell incoherently and excitably in support of holding their ground and meeting the threat of the Sabbat head on. So much so that for a moment your hearts are uplifted, like, hey, maybe this is the victory we needed. Maybe it will all go according to plan. And then she takes a single step toward the group and gestures as though she intends to speak. The excitement, the thrill that these Brujah have in support of standing up to the Sabbat dies. And they become quiet again. And she begins to speak. But not to the Brujah who are gathered. She instead turns and looks directly to Johnny. First things first. Johnny, in order to disagree with her in any capacity, I need a courage test at difficulty 9.
Her being Dark Selena, presumably.
Her being Dark Selena.
Should I make this now, or should I make this reflexively as we talk?
The moment she looks at you, you have to make the roll.
All right, so right now?
Yep.
And I'll spend a point of willpower. 2 successes.
With 2 successes, you don't wither away just being looked at by her. First, I wish to commend you for your bravery. You are demonstrating a certain gall that most of our clan lost a long time ago when it decided to bend to the Ventru and their masquerade. But that gall comes at a price, Johnny. I know that you are dissatisfied where you are. I know that you have seen the signs of Gehenna. I know that it frustrates you. The time is being spent bending to the whims of Cainite politics when your daughter needs you to stand up and use the strength of your blood to save her. I know that this entire crusade is a waste of your fucking time.
Johnny takes a step, an aggressive step towards her, and kind of levels his gaze at hers. In the back of his mind, his beast is trying desperately to just claw its way out and get the fuck off this rooftop, but he locks it down. Gehenna or not, he points at the sky and the baleful red star above. None of us are blind. We can see that the times we are in are unlike anything else.
What? Some of the Brujah look kind of surprised and unsettled that this conversation has become so apocalyptic so quickly.
And respectfully, my daughter is none of your goddamn concern.
Do not presume to decide what is my concern, child. Your blood is my blood. Not in that we are just both Brujah. You come from my line. What animates your corpse is my power. What tethers you to your daughter even beyond death is my power. Be frustrated, be angry. It's good, I love that. But don't deny yourself the truth. The comfort you exist in this Camarilla. It is a fading joke. Do you have any idea how many rants and raves and meetings and monologues from the princes of various domains have promised an end to the crusade? Do you have any idea how many Johnnies came before you insisting that the Sabbat will go no further? This is the most decisive moment of your entire existence as a Cainite. But to us, to the Sabbat, this is a routine step in the process.
Johnny, summoning up all his courage, cracks a smile at her face. He pops a Morley into his mouth and lights it. See, that's the problem with elders like you. You think you've seen it all. But I can promise you, there ain't no other fucking Johnny Saxon. And his little coy smile breaks into a full wolfish grin. And he kind of grandstands in front of her and kind of like spreads his arms out to the crowd around.
She dominates down her generational line, and you find yourself approaching her with that grin, and you give her your lit cigarette. She accepts it, and you go back to grandstanding, and no one in the crowd seems to recognize that it was not your choice to do so. She takes a drag, savoring the taste of the Morley, and she says to you, again, I admire your bravery, but this is a conversation that we've already had. Perhaps not this Johnny, but so many of the Johnnies who have come before. And every time I make the same offer, but you seem to be a particularly smart Johnny. I think you crave freedom from the limitations that are pressed down upon you by the Camarilla. And I believe that you are not the only Brujah here that feels that way. I didn't come here to menace you. I didn't come here to make you afraid. That you're completely wrong about. I came to uplift you. The thought of one of mine bending knee to the elders of the Camarilla disgusts me. The thought that you cannot have all that you deserve because of their laws disgusts me. The fact that they would use you to make war against the Sabbat and die against the Sabbat so that they might run another night disgusts me. I would see you become what you were meant to be. I would see you stand in defiance of Gehenna, just the way you want to, enriched by our ways. Your prince, he's already halfway there. I don't know what the debate is. Why are we disagreeing?
Johnny, who plays it off to the crowd, like the pass of the cigarette was nothing at all, gives her a stare that is halfway between what the fuck are you and how dare you, perhaps leaning a little bit more into the terror of what the fuck are you, extends a hand asking her to pass the cigarette back for the sake of the crowd.
As his coterie, has Johnny ever shared his morally like that?
I'll put it to you this way. If he did, it wasn't with the Sabbat.
I don't think it's a move you've ever seen Johnny make.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
And in fact, I think his performance might be working for the crowd. You can probably see the shake and terror in his eyes of having been casually dominated as such.
Wynn gives Miles a look and kind of just starts casually moving around the circle. She is not moving with any intent at this point, only to establish that she is moving. But eventually she intends to land closer to Johnny, but not so close that...
Being subtle about it.
Sure. As subtle as Wynn can be.
You have a lot of leeway right now because a lot of the people talking are presence-oriented and a lot of loud shouting and grandstanding and roaring and hissing and...
She will move so that her pattern of movement falls between being able to see Dark Selena's face, not necessarily in her line of sight directly, but keeping an eye on Johnny's face, kind of making him aware of the fact that she has his back if things start to go.
This environment is raucous. Would I be able to heighten vision on the cigarette? Or at least, rather, could I heighten my vision and then watch the cigarette?
Yeah.
I'd like to. Britta's feeling suspicious about it passing lip to lip, I suppose.
Britta will actually notice that while she's taking the drag on the cigarette, she's examining it, absorbing it, and you kind of realize that she's using the spirit's touch on the cigarette to learn more and more about Johnny. And that there is a much more clever undercurrent to what's going on than her just talking.
If I were to attempt to use telepathy to knock on Johnny's mind, would it be disruptive to him?
No.
Then I'd like to.
Johnny, you feel a presence press against your mind.
Is it a familiar presence?
It is.
What's going on, kid?
Hey, Johnny, I started watching the cigarette because, I don't know, I got scared that maybe it would have blood on it, but I think she's doing the same thing that I was doing when I touched your jacket earlier. And I felt everything she felt. It seems like she's learning about you.
That's a good thing. If she's learning about me, she means she's not going to kill me out of hand.
Just seems like this is part of the plan, alright? I'll keep an eye out.
Girl, at this point, this is all just theater.
Do you mind if I stay here so that we can talk?
Please.
She hands you your cigarette and says, "There is no need for us to fight. There is no need for any of you to remain in a sect that uses you as cannon fodder. Unless His Grace has something different in mind." She kind of looks at Miles, kind of appraisingly.
Miles, who has been mostly trying to not be noticed, in the back here. I don't plan on using any kindred as cannon fodder.
What does your sire plan?
He has his own plans. I have mine.
What's the difference? Because his plan relies on cannon fodder, doesn't it?
Sires and their children don't always have the same plans. Johnny looks menacingly over at Delgado, and relishes the fact that he can stare daggers at another kindred without feeling absolute terror. So he leans into that.
Delgado on cue stares right back menacingly and also kind of appreciating a sense of normalcy for what happens when the Camarilla and the Sabbat Brujah meet and not this.
I feel like in a weird way they share a moment where they're like, thank God we can just be angry at somebody. And like I feel like it's as they're like staring daggers, there's also like a sense of like, thank you.
You are both hostages to the Methuselah from whom you are descended.
While this is all going on, Neil is much like Miles, standing in the back, probably right next to Miles, in that, like, both of them sort of naturally going to that, like, nobody's really looking at us right here spot. Because this is Johnny's show. Keeping half an eye on Eden and keeping her way the fuck back now that shit's popping off. But also, there is a violent powder keg of potential energy on this roof. And as a Malkavian and, you know, a seer, just trying to, whether through Eyes of Chaos or not, keep an eye on the thermostat to make sure the pot doesn't boil over.
Give me your Eyes of Chaos roll.
7 successes.
With 7 successes, everything looks right. It smells right. It seems right. Scary for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
But you hear something under the nervous quiet of this rave. And it's this deep, draconic rumbling, like something is waking. And whatever that is, it is the type of conflict that changes every part of the world that it touches.
Maybe a weird question, maybe not. With every rumble and pulse underneath, if there's any sense of pattern to that, Neil's going to look up at the star, which is way brighter today than it has been in a while. Is there any synchronicity to the pattern and pulse?
So, this star seems particularly bright. And you are high as hell, so it is like really, really, really bright.
Super true.
But not exactly. This rumbling, waking, draconic noise is coming from below and is rising.
Neil, that he's just doing that. He's not going to interrupt the Methuselah and Johnny talking to each other right now, but just going to keep an eye on that for now.
Well, at the moment, she has turned to Miles and has encouraged him to speak of his plan.
As those in New Haven are aware, I don't leave kindred out to dry. We are here to take care of each other, to support each other, to raise this city up to be better than it was before, to find a path together in cooperation with not only kindred and the Camarilla, but those that are around us and our neighbors. We are striving to make this better, not just to wage war and die.
I will give you the credit you are due, Miles. You have proven to be vicious and your supportive allies. And how can I judge you for what you did to Upton Rowlands when I have committed the deed myself? The truth is, Miles, you represent a form of leadership that the Camarilla doesn't accept. You absolutely encourage camaraderie. You encourage depravity on behalf of your loved ones. What is it? You did what you needed to? You're already halfway into the Sabbat. And announcing that the reason that they should stay beside you is because you behave as Sabbat isn't quite the argument that I think you think it is.
You just said it. He is the kind of leadership that this city needs. He stands by loved ones. He fights for them. He deposes princes that care not for this domain. All you're offering is another elder who says yield or perish.
Were Miles your leader with no strings attached, you would have a very valid argument, Johnny. But Miles serves his clan, particularly his sire. And his sire does not think the way Miles does. And when push comes to shove, because Miles has not been set free by the Sabbat, he will be obligated to obey his sire.
I don't think you're nearly as free as you purport.
It has been centuries since I've been made to obey anyone.
Wynn finally chimes in. And how free are those that follow you?
Ask them.
Are they going to give an answer you want? Or the answer they feel?
She kind of gives the black-hand Cabot that's with her a look.
And how is that different from me following Miles? You know how it's different? I've never been made to tell Miles that he's great.
Your entire clan has left the Camarilla because of the people that your friend Miles is beholden to.
But not because of my friend Miles, who is the one in charge of this city.
So, Miles, you will refuse your sire?
If I do not believe in his decision, and I think it is the wrong move, then I will not do it.
She smiles in a way that is pleased that you have sworn in front of these people to disobey your sire. Well, I'm sorry we'll come to that. I wish your Coterie good luck. And the rest of you, she looks to the Brujah, and they are looking pretty hopeless about the idea of contending against Dark Selena when kind of rolling over apparently comes with all these perks.
By the way, what's with the dragon under New York?
Johnny visibly blanches when she says that and kind of like nods like, all right, we're going there.
There are stories of beings from before the flood. The great flood. The deluge. And it is said that they will rise and consume all of Cainite kind. The Sabbat has pledged to oppose this.
Then why are you protecting it?
Nonsense.
Oh?
And furthermore, before we continue with this conversation, I wish to make sure your grace is comfortable with this topic being broached at a rave. Does your Josian sire approve of discussing antediluvians?
Miles looks at her and goes, I mean, are any of these Brujah snitches?
The Brujah are like, oh, what? No.
Then how is he ever going to find out?
Johnny lets out an audible guffaw, like,
She smiles. Then let's discuss. The Sabbat do not support these antediluvians, nor do they protect them.
Then why are you marching on another city rather than cleaning your own house?
You think that this thing extends merely to New York.
Oh, I know it doesn't.
And so the Sabbat must seize all territory that it holds.
But maybe start with the big chunk and stop it from reproducing.
That's not how that was going to work. But you see that it is here. And you know that your Camarilla is not going to do anything about it.
My Camarilla is going to be doing something about it. The Camarilla on the whole, I have no control over that. That's why my clan left.
Johnny takes a look around the roof to see if what the fucking reaction is from all the Brujah present about some things now being discussed that are probably
big.
The crowd is largely looking at you guys like you're insane. But there's some who are experiencing bits of this existential horror.
Johnny lifts up his arms and goes, whoa. Let's get something right here. Our honored guest, Dark Selena, is throwing around terms that I think is making everybody a little bit gun-shy.
Wynn kind of gives him a look, because she clearly started that discussion.
Yes,
but it's
of course.
His show.
Yeah. Yes, of course, she laughs. I threw these words around.
Well, let's get something straight. There is something in New Haven that I have never seen the likes of.
It is.
I think a lot of you...
You find yourself all quiet as she speaks, and you, interrupt her. Johnny, it is a shard, a piece of a greater whole. And were we to destroy even the greater portion of it, its essence, its mind, what have you, would simply awaken in whatever part of it that lives on elsewhere. You know that this has to be stopped.
I just want to catch everybody here up. Because judging from some of your faces, I think it needs to be reminded that there was once a Nosferatu who sent a lot of you to go try and take this thing out. I think you'll remember the house y'all went to.
Someone actually says the Molotovs didn't work. Right, yeah. And they start people's minds are now racing.
Whatever this thing is, and I appreciate the information that Dark Selena has given us about it. Whatever it is, this is something that everyone here needs to deal with. I am in agreement on that. What I'm not in agreement on is the Sabbat holding the Brujah at gunpoint, saying you need to abandon everything else that you've been living for and join us, because that's the only way to solve this. And if you, he points at Dark Selena, actually want to beat this thing, then I would appreciate an olive branch and a way that we might be able to work together to defeat that. If that's a discussion you want to have, then I think we're all ears. But demanding obedience, that ain't gonna fly.
You misunderstand.
No, I think I do.
Do not cut me off or I will tear your head off. This is your one and only warning.
Johnny gives her a look of, yes, ma'am, I understand. But outwardly for the crowd, kind of stands tall and lifts his chin up.
I will tear your head off and her head off. She points at Britta, and his head off, and she points at Neil, and her head off, and she points at Wynn, and looks back towards you. Don't act as though you might die. Recognize that everything you care about might disappear. Do not accuse me of putting my foot on your neck, because I will. I have come here to warn you that you are being used as resistance to Sabbat, and frankly, the Sabbat is the only chance you have at eradicating this. And I say to you that the Camarilla would rather silence you than deal with this, because that has been the approach that the Camarilla has taken for centuries. It will not change just because a handful of you have seen the truth. The Gangrel knew this, and that is why they left, not just because they discovered some truth out there as to what exists and what waits. This creature, this being, this is why they left. Xavier knew that the Camarilla would not help him. And for whatever reason, you have convinced yourselves that the grandchild of Hardistan is going to speak of antediluvians and galvanize his domain against this threat and not be quashed by his elders. You are idiots to think that the Camarilla is not going to kill you in order to keep their secrets. They don't care about New Haven. They don't care about the East Coast. They don't care about North America. The domains that matter to them are the ones that they live in. Everything else is a means by which they insulate themselves. Stop pretending that there is some hope you can hold out for that the Camarilla will care. They do not. I offer you this chance at survival. It is not a demand. I am not stepping on you. I am not breaking and bending you to my will because I can if I so chose. I am offering you your out. Take it, leave it, I don't care.
So here's what I'm going to offer you, because I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding here. I think the Camarilla doesn't care about anything but their own circle-jerking party. I think you are correct.
When you say that, there is a wave of demoralization that hits this crowd of Brujah.
And that being said, they still need us. They still fancy their egos. And that means they still need us, which puts us in a position to make some demand. And here's what I am proposing. I am proposing that we stop playing into their plan. I am proposing that the Sabbat stop scheming about how to acquire more property for the moment and take the olive branch we've offered, which is, hey, we also want to fuck this giant thing up.
We will not be consorting with servants of Hardestan.
Who fucking serves Hardestat?
You do.
No, I don't.
We have offered you the only offer you are getting. I understand if no is your answer.
Your Grace, Seneschal.
When the ripple of demoralization goes through, Neil, watching through Isaac Castle, I can see that happen, right?
Oh, yeah. And the sound of the dragon grows louder.
Johnny's like kind of standing in the middle of everything, right?
Yeah.
Neil is going to, shaking like a leaf, is going to just go up kind of behind Johnny and like tap him on the shoulder.
Johnny looks back.
He's doing this partly because like there's no way he can drag himself to like talk in front of Dark Selena and this whole fucking crowd. So still probably loud enough for most people to hear. He's going to bend in to talk to Johnny's ear and just be like, so all the points have been made here seem, reasonable. I can see how they would seem reasonable, but you've seen and I've seen what life when you sign up with the Sabbat is like. And I think you know and I know that anyone in this domain, anyone at all on the East Coast who still has friends, still has family, still is clinging to their humanity, is in the warmth of connection to the city and to the people here, whether or not it's Gehenna, whether or not if you go with the Sabbat, right, then that all gets snuffed out. Because we've seen what life is like, She may even think she has a point. She may have a point. And like when he says he doesn't look anywhere near Dark Selena, can't bring himself to do it. But I think a lot of people might be missing the bigger point and the bigger picture of what they lose out on by, hey, yeah, the elders in the Camarilla might be jerks, but there's connection under the system as it is that disappears with the Sabbat. Anyone who has a friend or somebody they talk to, somebody who makes them feel human again, gets snuffed out.
Johnny, hearing Neil's words, kind of like grabs him or gently takes him by the shoulder and kind of squares up with him a little bit as he's talking and shields him a little bit from the gaze of Dark Selena. And his posture kind of like becomes infectious to Neil. And as he begins in a whisper, like Johnny kind of like encourages him to speak louder and let those words that Neil is offering carry amongst the rooftop.
I think a lot of us have more connections to humanity, to the people that we were, to the people we want to be, than even the most hardened of us might actually even admit to ourselves. But all of that dies under the Sabbat. I mean, they can pretend that they want to fight the antediluvians. They can even believe that they want to fight the antediluvians as much as they want to. But what are they even fighting for at that point? Just freedom under a crueler system? And I've seen, not secondhand, not hearing about it, we've seen an antediluvian die. So we know they can die. And it wasn't the Sabbat who killed them. So, just food for thought. And he like kind of withers a little bit again.
Amaya very visibly puts her hand over her heart and like swoons as Neil preaches about essentially humanity.
Britta, from her presence within Johnny's mind, I guess I'm checking if this is something I might be able to do. If she could try to hone in and focus and provide a stream of calm, if she might be able to try to find it within herself to reach out and make a form of touchstone that he emotionally might be able to access, even if that's just flavor.
Thank God for my coterie. He looks up at Dark Selena. I wish you had a coterie like I have one. Kind of looks around at the whole rooftop. I wish you all had people like that to rely on. I hope you do. These two just reminded me that we have so much more to live for than the jihad. This eternal struggle. Yeah, we're ready to stop whatever is in that house. We're ready to stop that shard that came from New York. But we're not going to be doing that in service of this eternal struggle. Because that's just snuffing out one eldest in favor of another. He kind of pointedly looks at Dark Selena. Can I help you understand that?
The crowd kind of listens, and one of the Brujah, very young, actually one that was embraced to be turned over to Roman Pendragon, but hadn't before there was a change in who was prince. This very, very young neonate kind of stands up and says, we can't beat the Sabbat in a siege. Half the people that are in this domain are already planning to run. So what do we do? The crowd starts to look at Miles.
We don't expect everyone to fight. We want to empower and strengthen those that can, find people that they can rely on, develop skills for them also. But for those that are unable, unwilling, it's just not their place in the society. We will do our best to protect them, to shield them from this.
And moreover, we're not planning to fight a siege. We've got other plans. He offers the cigarette back to Dark Selena.
She accepts it, takes a drag. Delgado speaks. I think that's very brave. I can even say that I can respect it. It's like when hurricanes come by and people don't want to leave their homes. They stubbornly sit by the world they know and hope that the world is still going to be when the storm blows over. But we're your neighbor. The siege is never going to stop. You will never rest. You will never have a way out. I've accepted that existence a long time ago, and I just hope you're ready to accept that yourselves. You may fight for something other than service to the eternal struggle, but that's no escape from it. No one, and I mean no one, is turning the fight back against us. So this only goes one way, and I hope you figure it out before people you love disappear.
So what you're saying is no one's free from you. Is that it?
He shrugs. I'll let you come to your own conclusions. And the door to the rooftop opens, just as the draconic stirring that Neil is hearing reaches this deafening apex. And Roman Pendragon steps out onto the roof with this look on his face like he is ready to kill every member of the Sabbat he can get within arm's reach. And quietly and almost unusually driven even by his standards, he simply approaches the circle and starts to listen. And you, Neil, realize that that sound you've been hearing was him.
Path of Night is a Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Brujah was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Venture was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was composed for Path of Night by Brian Matolius. Find him online at brianmatolius.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can be found on YouTube at youtube.com/@pathofnight. You can help support the show on coffee.com/pathofnight. Find us on twitter.com/pathofnightpod, on facebook.com/pathofnightpodcasts, or email us at pathofnightpodcasts@gmail.com. See you next time, Kindred.
Quick question. What is Neil's appearance?
Oh, it's a 2.
It's a 2. I feel like Jane should brush part of the hair out of your face and like tuck it behind your ear, and suddenly you become appearance 3. You
Because we can see
She's
your
all
face.
that. You got She's All Thatted by Jane on the rooftop.
Do you know how tempted I was to use Mask of 1,000 Faces just to be a hotter version of myself?
If you got experience pent up, now is the time to become appearance 3, Neil.
I'm too off. I can't do it.
Tisk.
All the wrong priorities around here.
Just Britta will just start bullying people. It's fine.
The left.
Yes.
The laugh of she's not wrong.
Yeah.